G'day and welcome back to my channel. Now look, 3D printers. I've been intoxicated by them, well, suffocated by them. I've been electrocuted by them. I have been burnt by them. Yes, literally 2 of my printers caught fire. You'd think after that I'd give up? No, went out and bought another one. This is a Neptune 4 Plus. And Plus is so much bigger because I can print bigger things. And bigger things means when I print smaller things, it's easier, apparently. But anyhow, I thought you might like to hear my history of 3D printing. I've only been doing it for just over 12 months. And as I say, the resin printer made me very sick. I'll explain why. The first Neptune I got was great, but I managed to set fire to that. The second printer that I got given was a Core XY, which was quite good. That was from China. And it went all well until it all fell apart and it caught fire. So, you know, I thought long and hard and I bought that one. And I'll tell you why. Roll music. Right, that's printing away in the background, so there'll be a little bit of noise. The fans have just kicked in, but we'll get rid of that in a sec. It's currently doing what's called a temperature test, right? Now, this is a temperature test. This is the one I did on my other Neptune 4 when I was printing wooden things. I wanted to make wooden parts for my sailing ship, so this is a really big one. But these are basically, you know, dead ice channels, and I wanted to make them fairly small. And I was having some success doing that. But then someone said, you need to check the temperature on your printer. So I ran one of these temperature tests. The top part here is a little bit burnt because that's when the printer caught on fire. Yeah, it appears that wood filaments in a heated environment, heated up to too high a temperature, I really should have stopped the temperature much lower, catch on fire. Yep. Printer's finally finished. Yes, we get a break. Tug mugs available from my store now, along with the Harry Houdini Models Lifesaver, because scale modelling is a lifesaver. Although this is 3D printing, right? And thank goodness this is finally finished. And it was printing one of those temperature towers, okay? This one is much better because it starts at the hot temperature and it gets cooler and cooler and cooler as it gets to the top, right? Whereas this other one that I got to print the wood thing off, well, it started nice and cool and everything was fine, but as it went up, it got hotter and hotter and then caught fire at the top. Now, the G-Tech, yeah, these guys got more than one E in their name. It's just, yeah, they're very G. That company sent me their 3D resin printer to try out. And I'd never had a 3D printer and I wanted to get into 3D printing and I didn't know much about it, you know, and I sort of had researched it over the years and been on top of it. I thought it was very expensive and I couldn't make head and tail of a lot of stuff. Yeah, one for free, who's going to knock that back? So I got the G-Tech printer and yeah. Printed fine out of the box, as I said, when I did the video. Right? I did the video way back. I'll put a link at the end of this. And it prints little miniatures and things and they're terrific, right? Look really good. Only one problem. The files, which are supplied, sliced and on a little USB drive by G-Tech, they were hollow. Well, that's okay, but for resin, if you've got hollow stuff, it has to have little drain holes. Because see, as it sort of prints the resin printer, because it's actually a little light, UV light, shining on the resin, like little points of it, so you got a whole bucket of fluid, right? Whole bucket of toxic, absolutely nasty resin fluid, and then there's UV lights going through as the thing moves through it, and it hardens tiny little spots. Well, if you've got something that's a container, the UV light does all the outside, but in the middle, that can fill up with highly toxic resin. So normally you have drain holes, but these clever clogs have set files without drain holes. So you print it, looks fantastic, and then you put it on the shelf, that's really good. And then I started to get sicker and sicker, and I could only spend like half an hour in the hobby room at a time and go, oh, I'm feeling really crook, I don't know what it is. I have to go for a lie down, a massive headache, I feel all nauseated, you know. And then I saw this big stream of liquid resin pouring down the side of my cabinet. I wonder I couldn't smell it, but I think it's like the, putting a frog in boiling water thing. You know, you start really low, increase the temperature, the frog never really notices till it's too late and it's boiled. And that's what was happening to me. I reckon this thing had slightly cracked what they did. They burst all of those prints with resin inside them, right? The liquid resin eventually eats the cured resin and they split open and they leak it all out. So I've said this in previous videos, highly dangerous, extremely toxic. If it was small children, it could be fatal. Right? You imagine making a little toy for them and you hold it and had all this freaking resin in there playing with it and it breaks and they eat it or whatever. Yeah, they're going to be very sick puppies. So, yeah, the whole 3D resin thing, no, I got out of that. I went, no. It took me more than a month to get over it. I had to go and get my eyes tested. They were getting really fuzzy. No, never ever would I touch 3D resin again. So I'd had enough of that game. Yes, resin, forget it. Too toxic. Yeah, it's just dangerous, you know. Even if you think you're getting away with it, guys, it's going to build up and build up and build up, you know. It's because I had chemistry and a lot of things when I was younger and I got a lot of toxic stuff under my skin. So now I'm highly reactive to all that sort of stuff, right? You will be too. It'll just take 5, 10, 15 years. You end up with toxic shock because of resin. Not good stuff. Anyhow, I researched and I found this, okay? It was a good price. And I thought, yeah, I can afford that. That's not too bad. And it seemed to do everything I wanted. The speed was there. It was faster. It was bigger. It was better. It sort of did a whole lot of things that I needed because I wanted to like produce all these tools. I bought it. Neptune 4. Well, that's what I ordered. And then actually they rang me up, sort of waiting for it to turn up. They went, we're all out of Neptune 4s. Everyone's buying them. They're so popular. I said, well, what am I going to do? They said, well, would you like a Neptune 4 Pro? I went, how much more is that? They said, you can have it for the same price because we let you down. So that was fantastic. I got the Pro version, which had slightly better sort of railings on it and very more stiffer parts and everything. Just better all around, actually. And it was a revelation. It was so easy to use. I could have it in the hobby room. It didn't make a lot of noise, you know. It probably a little less noise in this one. And I had so much fun with it. So I started printing all my rigging tools, and that was really good. They were coming out really well from the Neptune. I think this one was actually printed on the Neptune. So I was really happy with that. They were going great. Things were going good, but it's only so big. It's only 220 by 220 sort of base, you know, so really couldn't print much that was anything bigger than that. And I was starting to get interest from the wood chip models, which I thought I never would. I mean, my old idea with the tools was for plastic chip models. It was an easy way to do the rigging for them. I thought the wood chip models would be tying bloody knots and going and doing all that. But no, they could see the advantage of my tools. So they wanted to order really big ones. I went, oh, no. Then I got contacted by Two Trees out of China. And they said, would you like a big 3D printer, big 250 by 250 sort of base thing, and it's a quad core XY, whatever. I went, okay, I'll have a free printer, and all I've got to do is do a review, and I did a review for that as well. Now, the difference is, this is a bed slinger, right? So the bottom bed goes back and forth, right? But doesn't go up and down, it just goes back and forth. So you've got X on the print head, right? Goes that way across the gantry. The Y is the bed, back and forth. That's why. And the Z is the whole thing goes up and down off the gantry as well. Okay, so that's how it does the X, Y, and Z axes, right? Or if you're American, Z. Yeah, I know you guys can't speak properly. So yeah, it's quite good, but often they're not as good printers as resin because you know they've got a little bit of rigidity problem. But the Core XY ones, totally different. They've got 4 big posts, really sturdy, so they don't shake around as much, right? These ones tend to shake, that one not so much. And the only thing that goes up and down is actually the build plate. It's like a resin printer. The build plate moves, just that little bit on each layer. So it's kind of really rock steady. It's hardly moving much at all, like a bed slinger's, you know, doing all this. So they tend to be a lot better. And then the top part, right, it's doing back, forth, front, back, right? All off a very stiff carriage and it never moves from position. So basically what I'm saying is it's a lot sturdier and it's supposedly a much more accurate way of printing. This is what Bamboo Labs did with all their printers that came out. And they said, yes, bed slingers are dead. We're only going to do Core XY. Of course, then they brought out 2 bed slingers, but that's another story if you know about that. But anyhow, yeah, so this printer, fantastic out of the box, screamed along. It had some problems. The control screen was absolute rubbish. You couldn't really control the computer off the little screen, you know, that's on the front of it. Luckily, it would connect to the interwebs, well, my local network, and I control it all through my computer and the screens there, and even the iPad, I could keep an eye on it and do things with it. So I got around that. A few other little sort of quirks and jerks with it, but I sort of got all over those. It was very noisy, I complained about that in the review. It sounded like bloody dolphins farting all the time. Meep, 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 meep. But anyhow, I got all that sorted out, and that printer seemed to do quite a good job. Yep, so I was quite happy with that. But after about 6 months, well, yeah, it would be 6, 7 months, things started falling off it. Even though I was doing regular maintenance, checking the belts and tightening this, there were things and screws I didn't even know about, and they had been falling out. And one day the gantry came completely loose, and the trucks that run the bloody thing back and forth on its Y direction up the top, one side totally dismantled, fell down, crashed on the print. Whole thing was useless. I went, this isn't good. This is not a good look. So I managed to find some screws that matched for the holes that were empty and screw the whole thing back together and seemed to get it all and recalibrate it. It seemed to be okay. And then I tried to print with it, but it wasn't printing really well. And I sort of fiddled with a few things. Next thing you know, it caught fire. Yep. What is it with me and printers catching fire? So now here I am stuck with Neptune 4 Pro that I had, right? It's caught fire and its head's all bloody molten. And this Two Trees SK1, well, it's dismantled itself and fallen apart and then caught fire. And I've got no printers. What am I going to do? I managed to find I could buy the new print head for the Neptune. So I quickly ordered one of those from Elegoo. It was here within a week. Put that on and the Neptune 4 was going again. But I wouldn't be able to print the really big stuff like this. This is about a foot long on that side, right? Okay. 300 millimeters in my stuff. Foot long. I mean, the size of half a dozen packets of cigarettes. I know you Americans don't actually have any measurements. You just do everything by sizes of buses or, sizes of wombats or something. Or it should be Australia, wouldn't it? Yeah, you haven't got wombats, but you got badgers. Yeah, it's a 2-badger printer. Whatever. Anyhow, this was too big to print on my Neptune 4 Pro, so that was the thing. So I was on the hunt for another printer, and I thought, well, Core XY is good and everything, but I was going to be up for about $1,000 here. Yeah, so about $700 US, but still it'd be 1,000 of my shitty Australian pesos. So that was sort of going to be a bit expensive for the bank. So I hunted around, and lo and behold, Elegoo had a sale, and they had Neptune 4, which I liked, but the bigger plus one. As I say, it's 320 by 320, which is its build plate, which is huge, right? Here's the difference. Much bigger, much better. So I thought, hey, that's good. And it also comes with extra bracing, right, which keeps it nice and rigid. And girls, we all like a good rigid one, don't we? Yes, we do. Another innuendo, that Spanish bullfighter. Now, so I ordered it. I thought, that's fantastic. That's really good. I had looked at other things and I had tried to order something off Creality, but they stuffed me around for a week and then told me the thing wasn't available. I got the shits with them. And I thought, well, I'll stay with Elegoo because I like their product. Their service is good. They've got the parts in Australia. So, there's that sort of reasoning, right? Whereas I could have bought maybe an Ender 3 or I could have bought maybe one of the new Bambu Lab A1 sort of things. Sure, all of them about the same price range. In fact, in the end, because it was on special, the Plus, cost me exactly the same as my old Neptune 4 Pro. Same price. So I was happy with my order. In it went. Less than a week later, it turned up. Great big box. Right? Great big box. I went, wow, oh, goodness me. I only just lifted inside. I had to use my good arm. Because remember, I've still got my broken arm here. But my good arm was okay. Well, broken arm here. So I had this great big box. And it took me a couple of days until I managed to free up some time. Because it's busy as a bloody banshee. And I started assembling it. Now, I thought it might take a while. I was a bit worried. I'd watched some videos online to get an idea of what it was all about. It looked pretty well the same as putting my Neptune 4 Pro together, except it was bigger because it's a plus. Yes, ladies, we all like plus size, don't we? Harry's a plus size these days. He has too many curries and too much chocolate. Yes, so plus. Anyhow, in the box, it was all packed really nicely. Pretty well the same as my Neptune 4 Pro. First level, you get the gantry. There it is. Out comes the gantry. It's all pre-assembled. Everything's wired for you. There's very little you have to do. In your next level, you've got the base, which again is all wired up, ready to go. Not much to do. Then you've got ancillary bits and pieces. You've got a whole table full of them that looks scary, but really isn't. Now, all you've got to do is get the gantry, right, on the base. And the videos and everyone tell you to turn it sideways, everything. I had a devil of a time doing that, sort of flipping it over and everything, because this is quite heavy and unwieldy, the base, and the bed sort of flips around. It's a bit annoying. But I'd seen a guy last year, after I'd assembled my printer, and he had this good trick where you put 3 legs on the table, but you hang one side slightly off, then you can get it underneath with your screwdriver, and you can do up the hex nuts. And it's so easy. So I did that. Yeah, I did that. It was so easy. No heavy lifting, because of my broken arm, remember? And it screwed together quite well. By the time you added the braces to it, makes it really strong. So that's the thing, you've got a whole bracing mechanism there. The other things you got to add, well, you got to add a little screen thing for the controller. You've got to add the top filament holder. Not that I'm really going to use it. I just put it on there for the heck of it. I use these things. These are filament dryers, so I keep the humidity out. If you've watched my channel, you know about all the problems I have with humidity when prints failing. Well, that solves all that, and the air conditioner in here will dry the room out as well. So all of that, these are things that you've got to learn, and it takes a while to get your head around all this stuff. But once you have got it all figured out, the printers just buzz along. It's great. And all up, although I did take my time, because I followed the manual just to be absolutely sure I didn't miss anything, I got it all done in about 2 hours. So it's all screwed together, ready to go. And then I spent an hour calibrating. Now, calibrating is where you basically level the bed. You've got some knobs to turn first to roughly sort of set your bed level. Then it takes over. It's got a whole automatic sequence that does everything else. And then you kind of set your nozzle, right, exactly to the right Z height on the bed and that sort of thing. Once that's all done, you're away. And I didn't do any other settings at all in the machine. I didn't worry about trying to calibrate the temperature like I've done today, with the temperature tube. I didn't worry about trying to calibrate flow rate or anything. You can do all these wonderful things that make your prints better and better. I will do that, but it's all about learning your printer and getting used to its settings and what it's capable of doing. But the Neptune 4 Plus is fantastic, and it's going to print some really big things. I'll be able to do more and more stuff, and so I'm really happy, really pleased. And to think that, the hobbies only cost me, well, I think I might have broken even with the sales I've made, sort of selling off the different harps and things like that. That's basically paid for my 2 printers that I've bought over the last 12 months, and all the filament and all the bits and pieces and knobs and things that you buy, because another one I'm going to buy actually is a camera, which would be handy because you put a little camera on it and then you can be sitting in another room and use that internet interface thing, right, interweb thing, and you can watch your printer so when it starts to self-destruct. So there you go. That's 3D printing by Harry Houdini. Yes, I've had a few disasters, had a few things, but look, it's only been a year and I've gone from zero to hero. Well, legend of my own lunchbox. But I've certainly got to a point where I can fiddle and faff and I can produce tiny little prints like this, and I can produce great big bloody tools. I know how to do it, right? And it's been fun along the way. Just, don't set fire to your printer. It's not a good look. No, it isn't. And buy a good quality printer. Doesn't have to cost you a fortune. As I said, this one, less than $500 Australian, which is $350 US. And it's fantastic. I could do a full mask on that, like a full helmet thing. I could print my motorcycle helmet. Don't know how legal it'll be, but you could print one. So you could do, cos stuff and everything, cosplay stuff and all that kind of stuff. You can print great big vases. You can make whatever you like, You make the biggest, longest dildo that you'll... We're allowed to say that word on here, Bask? No. Scratch that. Just edit that bit out. You're not allowed to say that word. I think it was that... it was actually that artist I was talking about. That Dido? Yeah. The songs. Well, this is degenerating, isn't it? Yeah. Buttons. If you've managed to hang around to the end of this video and you haven't been bored out of your brain about me waxing on about setting fire to printers, whatever it is, Luke, Matthew, and Steve, or whatever they are. I don't know. I forget. And look, boom, buy me a curry, please. Obviously, I need feeding. Look at me. I'm a shadow of my prior self. Okay, well, look, that's all we've got time for. I will continue doing 3D printing. It will be part of this channel. There will be scale modelling. I will get back to it. I've got tons of freelance work that I'm trying to work my way through. I've got a number of things that were sent to me for review that I've had for months, and I've had to make excuses, all legitimate excuses. Yeah, for manufacturers, if you're watching here. Yes, the cat did eat my homework, and yes, my house did burn down. Those things were true. No, I've got a couple of reviews to get out, keep a couple of manufacturers happy, and then I've got some things to do with the Wasp because I'll be printing the ship boats and the turrets on the fantastic new printer, and I have every confidence they should come out great. Yeah. All right, well, that's it. It's goodbye from Australia, and it's hooroo from Harry Houdini. No, I know. It's pretty good. Something's on fire. What's on fire? Oh no, not another bloody fire!